The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz, Philosophy Doctor. Chapter 4, How to Think Big. That may be, I said, but when you talk to our neighbor, did you not observe that the demand for milk in that household will increase considerably in a month or so? There will be a new addition over there that will consume lots of milk. The young man looked for a moment like he had been struck, and then he said, "How blind can a guy be? Today that same 1 quart every 2 days family buys 7 quarts every 2 days from a millionaire who had some foresight. That first youngster, a boy, now has 2 brothers and 1 sister. And I'm told there'll be another young one soon. How blind can we be? See what can be, not just what is." The schoolteacher who thinks of Jimmy only as he is an ill-mannered, backward, uncouth brat certainly will not aid Jimmy's development. But the teacher who sees Jimmy not as he is now but as he can be, she'll get results. Most folks driving through Skid Row see only broken down stumblebums hopelessly lost to the bottle. A few devoted people see something else in the Skid Rowite, they see a reconstructed citizen. Arid because they see this, they succeed in many cases in doing an excellent rehabilitation job. For what determines how much you're worth? After a training session a few weeks ago, a young man came to see me and asked if he could talk with me for a few minutes. I knew that this young fellow, now about 26, had been a very underprivileged child. On top of this, he had experienced a mountain of misfortune in his early adult years. I also knew that he was making a real effort to prepare himself for a solid future. Over coffee, we quickly worked out his technical problem, and our discussion turned to how people who have few physical possessions should look toward the future. His comments provide a straightforward, sound answer. I've got less than $200 in the bank. My job as a rate clerk doesn't pay much, and it doesn't carry much responsibility. My car is 4 years old, and my wife and I live in a cramped second-floor apartment. But, Professor, he continued, I'm determined not to let what I haven't got stop me. That was an intriguing statement, so I urged him to explain. It's this way, he went on, T've been analyzing people a lot lately, and I've noticed this. People who don't have much look at themselves as they are now. That's all they see. They don't see a future, they just see a miserable present. My neighbor is a good example. He's continually complaining about having a low-pay job, the plumbing that's always getting fouled up, the lucky breaks somebody else just got, the doctor bills that are piling up. He reminds himself so often that he's poor that now he just assumes that he's always going to be poor. He acts as if he were sentenced to living in that broken-down apartment all the rest of his life. My friend was really speaking from the heart, and after a moment's pause he added, if I looked at myself strictly as I am, old car, low income, cheap apartment, and hamburger diet, I couldn't help but be discouraged. I'd see a nobody and I'd be a nobody for the rest of my life. I've made up my mind to look at myself as the person I'm going to be in a few short years. I see myself not as a rate clerk but as an executive. I don't see a crummy apartment, I see a fine new suburban home. When I look at myself that way, I feel bigger and think bigger. And I've got plenty of personal experiences to prove it's paying off. Isn't that a splendid plan for adding value to oneself? This young fellow is on the express way to really fine living. He's mastered this basic success principle. It isn't what one has that's important. Rather, it's how much one is planning to get that counts. The price tag the world puts on us is just about identical to the one we put on ourselves. Here is how you can develop your power to see what can be, not just what is. I call these the practice adding value exercises.